Torah Life Ministries come out of the world. Messiah people seek the truth.
Hello, everybody. It's Paul Deese with Torah Life Ministries. I'm really excited about today's guest and the conversation today. The conversation today is a conversation that not everyone will be in agreement with, but it's an important enough conversation. I thought we should do an interview and speak about this topic. So many people I know today are having relationships that are not working out, including myself. And I want to get to the bottom of this because the enemy wants to destroy relationships, and our Creator wants relationships to stay together and blossom. And he promises us a more excellent way in his word. Well, people are missing something because it's not, they're not edifying each other, and it's not just, something's wrong. And in my investigation to figure this out and my study of scripture, I found out that our Creator has a particular order of things, and he has a plan. And he says in his word, "Know the plans I have for you. They are for good and not disaster, to offer you in a future and a hope." And I have a guest on the show today who's a woman whose eyes have been opened up to this order of the way things should be. And the question is, first, let's say hello to our guest, Amy Denise. How you doing, Amy?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Amy, this topic is something that some people might not be in agreement with, but it's important to get out there. And the thing is the word. I'm going to give everybody a word, and I talk about this often. Whenever you say a word, automatically it triggers something in people, and it's a beautiful word, but it's a word that's automatically somebody's mind goes to one place. The word is submission. From a biblical standpoint, well, let's just say to you, Amy, from a biblical standpoint, when you heard the word submission, what did you think it meant, and what's your understanding about it now?
I think I used to think it meant just a woman being quiet. I didn't realize that it's not so much about physical quietness as it is a stillness and a trust and a surrender, an inward surrender to the Father and his created order.
Sure. And what changed what do you think about it now when you hear the word submission?
I think of peace. I think of rest and not striving to be God in a sense, because it seems like when I'm not submitted to him or to his proper order, it just seems like I'm trying to run things, and I put myself on a throne, and that is a scary place to be.
Yeah. From my understanding, there's two schools of thought when it comes to biblical submission. One of the sides is something called biblical submission, which is following the plan and the order our Creator gave us in all things and trusting in him. The other one is something called mutual submission, which means you kind of get out of the order and you put everything on the same level, and you just try to fill a common role and not have specific roles. And when you hear those two sides of it, what would be your reply to somebody that believes and they think the mutual submission is biblical, but it's really not? So what would your discussion or your comment be to somebody? Let's say a woman says, "Oh, I don't believe in biblical submission or the idea of it. I believe mutual submission." What would you say to somebody?
I would say that that's our flesh trying to deceive us, or the culture trying to deceive us, because I used to think kind of the same thing, that as long as this person was acting right or doing this, then, I'll do this. And it was all very conditional. Whereas I feel like biblical submission is going by the way he created us. Like, I believe he created man and woman equal, but different, very unique and different, with different roles and a different way to balance each other. And I believe that the woman is the helpmate of the man, and we are gifted and skilled in certain areas and activities that men aren't. And it shouldn't be offensive to say that, but I know in today's culture it is, and people think, "Oh, Amy's old fashioned," or, she's tripping about all this biblical submission stuff, because our flesh does not like the thought of having to submit or be less than like what they seem to think it means, but it doesn't. It just means being in harmony with the Father and the way he wants us to live.
Well, I certainly could have had men on the show and interviewed them, and it just wouldn't have made as much of an impact of having a woman admit this. And there are women out there that understand this. It's biblical. But when we look at the word submission, it's a Bible thing. It's not about man and husband and wife. It's about it's about a Yahweh thing. And the most submissive person in the whole Bible was Yeshua, and we are to mimic him. And there's something you said, Amy, that's very important that people understand is biblical submission, or not even that alone. The love of Yeshua that he wants us to mimic is an unconditional love. That does, and that's different than many of these books out there today on relationships. There's a lot of this about condition. Oh, if you do this, then you'll get this, and so on. But Messiah gave us unconditional love. And that's what biblical submission is about. It's about doing something without conditions, doing it because our Creator wants us to do it. So, where did it change, Amy? Was it the women's movement, and there's many men out there that aren't submissive to our Heavenly Father. But where did all this change? Where do you think all this changed, and when did we get away from the Bible and start doing thinking different?
Right. Well, we know that this spirit of a woman trying to usurp men's authority has been going on since the beginning. But I definitely see a shift around the 50s, I would say, when it seemed like I call them our handlers, the people in control that want to make things appear normal for the culture. And if you're not with it, you're kind of obsolete. Because it seems in the 50s is when they tried to start selling these foods in boxes and instant this and that, and TV dinners and things like that. And like they took away the woman's role as the woman that would create healthy meals for their family and sitting down and eating dinner together as a family. And it's this subtle little shift that occurs in our culture as we look throughout the decades, as the media and Hollywood and all these people just bombard us with images and scenarios that they basically claim is normal, which is not. And so now we have families that are no longer being fed by their mom. They're being fed fast food in front of the TV. So you already have just a really important thing, simple thing, community and food and healthy food and family. And that's been removed. And now it's looked at like the woman doesn't even need to be at home to take care of the children, the household, the husband. She can go to work and she can bring home like fast food or pizza or pop in, a TV dinner, and that's it. And so I just feel like everything is out of balance. We've just been completely sidetracked as women, and we need to get back to our roots and take pride in managing our household, cooking healthy meals, and being our husband's helpmate the way we were created to be.
Wow. And do you know many women that have this same opinion as you do, or is it harder and harder to find women that think this way?
Yeah, I don't know many. I do know some online because, it seems like people online, will find each other through blogs or videos, and they're like, oh, I've never found anyone that thought like me. And so I get a lot of connections that way. But as far as just in my life, no, it's very rare for me to find someone that would not be offended by the words I'm saying right now.
Wow, and that's a big important thing. And there's a book that I've read that I really highly recommend, and I know you've read it too, or some of it. It's by a lady named P.B. Wilson, and it's called Liberated Through Submission. And I don't know if that's showing backwards on the screen, but it's called Liberated Through Submission, and it's a wonderful book on this topic that's written in a different way than I see many books written out there. And for me, what was just amazing about the whole topic is to know that submissiveness is not a husband and a wife thing. Submissiveness is a Yahweh thing, and I, as a man, I'm called to be submissive on the highest level to our wonderful Creator. And there's a chain, and if I'm not, the chain breaks. Mm-hmm. So the responsibility there is extremely important for men out there to understand this. And it's society, and what you said with the invention of the television has created a big problem. It's very common and understandable today about all the fake media and the false media to swift and change things. It's according to the way they want things today. and all of this. It's but the book talks about it happening in the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve, and the natural tendency of a woman to want to be in control, and a man's natural desire to be lazy. And when they were punished for their sin, they were told to do? Well, Adam was told he'd have to work until the soil, and so our Creator took away what he desired the most: rest and laziness. And the woman, her desire was to submit to a man, and what was taken away was for her having complete control. But really, what I love about the book is the part of the man or the woman trusting and having faith in a wonderful Creator so much that if something is happening that she doesn't like, she could take it to our Creator and trust that our Creator will put it on the man's heart to do the right thing. What was some highlights or something you thought that you read that you didn't think about before?
I just like the fact that she came from the complete opposite to where she is now. Like, her testimony is incredible, and just the way that she wasn't even a believer, and she was completely unsubmissive, and now she wrote this incredible book that is really easy to read and understand and digest. It just makes a lot of sense, and I think that everyone would be blessed to read it, because also a lot of women in our culture think it's okay to nag and be contentious and just always on the man if they're not living up to our perfect expectation, because like you mentioned, women like to be in control, and we are very emotional, and when things aren't going our way, we like to let you know about it. And I've learned that if you have something negative that you're noticing and you've already brought it to their attention in a calm and loving way, and they're still doing it, at this point, you just have to take it to your Creator and pray for that person, and you stay submitted yourself by example. And even though the scriptures say, if you're even married to an unbeliever, don't leave him for that. He can be won over by your quiet and submissive spirit that is precious in the sight of Yah. And so we can't go around being bitter women, and I know how that is. I've been one before. We just have to submit to the Father. Like you said, it's not just about marriage, because a lot of times we do associate it's about marriage. But no, if you stay submitted and you have a husband, like I said, if he's an unbeliever and he is pleased to dwell with you, then just keep praying for him and show him respect and show him love. And I really believe that he will be drawn to that spirit, and in the end be drawn to the origin of that spirit, which is our Father. And so that's my advice to a lot of women, because I know there are a lot of women who become believers after they were married, and sometimes they struggle with being, unequally yoked. And so we just have to be extra submissive to the Father in those situations.
Great. Well, I want to hear, maybe we should do in the future a live discussion on this topic, but we'd love to hear from people of your opinions of what we're talking about right now. You can post them below the video. And if you'd like to see us discuss this live and answer your questions live, let us know, and we'll come back and do it. But Amy, give people your contact information if they want to get in touch with you.
Okay, sure. I'm Amy Denise on Facebook and YouTube. And then I also have a separate Facebook page for my truth seeking stuff, which is facebook.com/simply seeking truth.
Very good. And you guys know how to get in touch with me at TorahLifeMinistries.org. And thank you for watching today. And Amy, thank you for joining us. Is there anything else you want to say on the topic?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. All right, everybody. We'll be back again soon. Have a great day, and shalom, shalom.
Out of the world, oh my people, seek the truth, avoid the evil, learn Yahweh's ways. Torah Life Ministries, come out of the world.